Cool, Aaron. Why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell us about your VR experiences.
Okay. My name's Aaron Lemke. I'm a musician and VR developer from Austin, Texas. And currently, I'm working on a game called Eden River, which is a VR relaxation game that is set to release a week from Friday, actually. So pretty soon. Actually, I just announced pre-orders today. So if you go to unellodesign.com, you can pre-order Eden River, and you get a sweet music demo that I made called Opera Nova. That is kind of like VR Fantasia. So it's sort of like sound and music visualized in 3D around you. And I think it's pretty cool. I also just got the DK2 support for that one, so if you're looking for cool DK2 demos, you should go check it out. Yeah, that's about it. I did bring my guitar to play a short excerpt from the Eden River score, and we can do that now, or we can do that later, whatever you guys prefer.
How long have you been in Austin for? I'm from Houston, and I have a sister who goes to UT, and I love Austin. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I grew up here, so I've been here for 24 years. Kind of crazy. I mean,
that's awesome, dude.
Austin's great, but I'm definitely ready to move elsewhere.
Oh yeah?
Where would you go?
I've been trying to find my way there.
Really? See, I don't know. I feel like, you know, if you eat ice cream every day, then you don't like ice cream anymore. So, you know, Austin is awesome, but like I grew up here, and I don't know. Maybe I don't appreciate it as much as I should. I think for sure if I moved somewhere else and kind of got some perspective, I would probably appreciate it more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you go to school there as well?
Yeah, I went to UD. You said your sister's at UT?
Yeah, she just finished her freshman year.
Cool. What's she studying?
So she's still kind of figuring that out right now. Actually, I think she's gotten to the business program, so.
Oh, nice.
Something.
You ever run into Carmack at a food truck?
I've never seen Carmack. Isn't he in Dallas though, or he's in Dallas or Houston?
Yeah, he's in Dallas. So the entire score of Eden is done by you?
Yeah, that's kind of my main thing. I grew up in Austin playing in bands. Started playing drums in bands when I was 11, and I don't know. There's like everyone in Austin plays in a band, so there's a lot of bad bands, but it also means that you get to play. You just get a lot of opportunities to play, and a lot of people who are excited about playing. So I mean, yeah, that was definitely my first gig playing music and writing music, and then I sort of eased my way into games, into virtual reality. Because the cool thing about games, like if you make games and you make music, then you can kind of create the context for your music. So if you make a game, you can create the context for music in a way that's really powerful. Yeah, because in a lot of ways, I think context is more important than the content sometimes. For example, I used to play, in college I was playing in 4 bands at one time, and pretty much playing gigs like every weekend. And there was one place that we played all the time. It was the best gig in Austin as far as I'm concerned. It was at a place called the 21st Street Co-op, and this was kind of like a hippie commune housing co-op place. It was very colorful, but they had a really great jam room, basically a big party room on the top floor. And you know, they had a stage, they had like a nice PA so bands could set up. And like I said, that was the best gig that you could play in Austin because you would show up and the entire audience is just there to party. You know, no matter what's playing on stage, they're going to be having a good time and partying. And I remember a couple of times playing shows. I was playing drums at the time in this one band called The Days, and I remember a couple of shows that were just horrible. Like like maybe one of us had kind of gotten too drunk or someone was out of tune, and just afterwards I remember thinking like, God, that was one of the worst shows I've ever played. But the audience, since they're just there to party, they don't really care, you know, like they're satisfied with whatever's going on. So in that instance, the context of this big party where everyone's chilling and having fun trumps content, which was our sort of piss poor rock show. So yeah, I'm all about context over content.
So you were
Makes sense.
talking about a new demo, the Opera Nova, and can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Opera Nova is a demo I made kind of a while ago. Actually, I made it for GDC, and Mike, I think you were one of the first people who played it. And it's in Unity, and I figured out a way to read in MIDI files. So MIDI is kind of the language that keyboards and synthesizers use to talk to computers. And I figured out a way to write these MIDI files in Logic, which is my recording software, and then export them and import them into Unity. And I figured out a way to get Unity to read in these files and then basically trigger game events whenever a MIDI note is hit. So, if you're playing a scale on the keyboard, basically translate that into a sequence of game events. So really what it did was it allowed me a really easy workflow and a really easy way to sync the visuals up with the music. So what I ended up doing was taking these MIDI files and spawning particle effects every time a note is hit. So yeah, when you play the demo, it's basically a bunch of different particle effects kind of spread out in front of you, and each one represents a different sound. And you can walk up to them, you can kind of like stick your head into these sounds and sort of feel the 3D nature of the sound. But each one is, so like on the far left, this is the drum set. And so this particle system spawns a particle every time there's a drum beat. And there's a number of different particles kind of set up around you. Yeah, it's pretty cool demo. I mean, I think it's one of the coolest things that I've made. The other thing is it's got a really nice binaural spatialization plugin going. My original intent was to use RealSpace Audio, RealSpace 3D by VisuSonics. They make a plugin for Unity. But it turns out their kind of like free indie level plugin only allows up to 4 sound sources. So in my scene I have 8 sound sources, so that wasn't going to work. And I ended up going with a plugin called Two Big Ears for Unity.
I heard of them.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know. I kind of think RealSpace is the best one so far, but
How expensive are they?
what's that?
Real space, are they super expensive?
I don't know. I've been talking to the kind of like the owner, I think, of the company, and we're working out something to where maybe I can swing like a free license. But yeah, I think the pro version is kind of expensive, or at least if you sell 100,000 units, and you have to give a percentage of that to them. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure they know how expensive their plugin is at this point.
Yeah,
They're still kind of figuring that out.
That's a great point, yeah. Nobody really knows how much to charge for these things. I mean, I'm kind of encountering the same problem with trying to sell Eden River is like, okay, well, what, you know, there's really no precedent for this. There's a couple of cases, but there's not a ton. You know, how much do we charge for an experience? What, you know, what is it worth to people?
So are you doing that full time, or do you have a real job and then you're doing this on the side?
Right now, I'm doing this full time. I live with my parents still, and so I have very, very low operating costs, which is nice. Yeah, hopefully, you know, in the next couple of weeks I'll start making some money. Actually, tonight I made $10 because
Woohoo!
Hey man, it's
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
You
because
gotta start somewhere.
I got my first pre-order for Eden River, and so somebody paid me $10, which is cool.
Have you
There's a
sent
demo out
it?
for it, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
Is there a demo yet? There's not a demo for Eden River, for the HD version. I think tomorrow I'm gonna, or actually maybe later tonight, I'm gonna put together a little trailer for Opera Nova to kind of give people an idea of what the experience is like. But yeah, I don't know if I'm actually gonna do a demo for Eden River. I don't know. Do you think I should? Do you think people?
Well, I'll tell you what I think you should do is I think
Okay.
that you should send it out to a select few people and let them demo it and do some Let's Play videos on it and really give everybody a taste of what it is.
Okay. That was kind of what my plan was. Is just once I get a working build, just kind of send it out and see what people think. Yeah, and I mean for the first game, I'm really more interested in like establishing a brand and kind of getting my name out there. You know, with Eden River, I really want to plant a flag and kind of say, hey, this is the type of experience that I think is cool. This is what I'm doing. Because I don't know, there aren't a lot of other experiences like Eden River yet. I mean, there was one called Rest and Relaxation that looked pretty cool. Cubicle Ninjas, I saw had a really cool demo at SVVR, the expo. Josh Farkas was running their booth. But I don't know, there's not a ton of stuff out here like this. But yeah, I totally agree. My plan is definitely to get a working build and then kind of just send it out to the taste makers.
There you go.
Of which I would include you, Kyle.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's tough when you're starting to try to produce a new product and get it out there to the masses, and you know you don't want to give away the whole thing, but at the same time you have to give something to somebody so that they can look at it, and that's what I'm going to end up doing with my game Project Taurus, is that I'm going to probably end up giving these guys, the guys that we've been talking to for a while. Definitely Matt here, who is standing on me. He probably doesn't see me. Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
I just like to be close to you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But yeah, it's a challenge because you don't want to put it all out there, and then
Right.
I mean, look at there have been some games that have happened that have sent out full version demos, and everybody played it and everybody liked it, but for some reason they're not getting the backing that they thought they'd get, and I'm not really sure why. But it is a phenomenon that has occurred, that if there's a full demo, for some reason people don't back it, and I'm not really understanding that one at all.
Maybe it's like you don't want to give away all of your secrets. There's something to like maintaining a mystique maybe around your product before it comes out.
Can you guys hear him? I hear him really low.
Oh, am I low? I can crank it a little bit.
That's better.
Check.
All right, yeah, it sounds good now.
Cool. Hey, just sold another pre-order. Woohoo!
Yeah. I'm trying to
Should
log in
celebrate
now.
with a song, and I need some relaxing music to get over the fucking nausea that DK2 has given me.
Let's do
Are you
it.
guys-
Holy hell. What's up,
Are you guys all
Politics?
rocking? Whoa!
What
He stood
the
right
hell?
in front of me.
Sweet avatar.
Karma's a bitch.
That is fucking
that?
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Man, I really wanted to
Whoa.
like spend some time and make a sweet avatar. I have like the 3D scanning app on my iPhone, and you can basically you can scan anything. So I wanted to scan my guitar and like have an avatar with a guitar. I don't know. Maybe next time.
An
Make it
avatar?
happen, dude.
An avatar.
I like that.
Or just make my
Trade-
entire avatar
trademark Reverend
guitar.
Kyle 2014.
All right, yeah, I can play a little tune.
Free
So
bird.
I've got my Freebird. I don't know Freebird yet, but I've got my my 12-string acoustic Alvarez here, and I'm just gonna play a little excerpt from the Eden River score that I've been working on. Yeah, here we go. Actually, these birds chirping in the background is like totally works, totally fits. Can y'all hear that? Yep. Alright, here we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm naked.
Thank you.
I have to go pre-order some Eden River now.
Yeah, go do it.
Do you have any relation to the
Shut up
other
and take my money.
Eden River that's on the Share Store? Is that the same
Yeah,
thing?
so that was the demo I put out back in November. That was, I guess that was the third thing I made. First thing I made was called Fire Breather, which was an app where it uses your computer's microphone, and based on how loud you're yelling or talking in the real world, it'll shoot fire out of your mouth. So you can kind of like, I don't know, you can yell and breathe fire. It's kind of a cool proof of concept. And the second thing I put out was called Waking Man, which is like a meditation experience where, again, it uses your microphone, and it just echoes everything that's happening in the physical world. So, you know, you can hum into it or you can chant into it. I actually like to play the guitar into it. It's kind of a cool effect. And then, yeah, after that, I put out Eden River. I think that was back in November. Put it up on the Share Store, put it up on Rift Enabled, and I mean, people just really seem to like it, much more so than anything else that I've made. Like, I mean, on the
There's definitely a lack of those kind of experiences. I think just things you can enjoy and relax to.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking was, I kind of think this is the coolest part about VR is like slow, sort of transcendent experiences, but there aren't any yet. Or back then there weren't any. So I felt like, you know, it was my duty to try and make something. And since I've made it, honestly, the feedback's been great. There's a lot of people on YouTube saying things like, "Oh, this is what I've been, you know, this is what I think VR is for. This is what I've been waiting for, is these types of slow-paced experiences." And I mean, not only the YouTube community, but I got a number of emails from people doing research, people doing anxiety research or PTSD research, or there's one guy in Australia who's a special ed teacher and sometimes uses Eden River to calm down his students who have really severe cases of autism. Sometimes at the end of the day, kids will just start throwing a fit, and previously the only thing that they could do was kind of set them in a corner and give them an iPad, and that would kind of calm them down a little bit. But apparently it's much more effective to sit them down and put them inside of a virtual reality experience. Somehow it just calms them, it just centers them. I don't know. So it was kind of hearing people doing things like that made me think, oh, okay, this is worth expanding into a full game.
Well, nice. That's awesome to hear, dude. I'm actually just downloaded that demo now, and I'm gonna try to run it in my DK2 and see what happens.
Wait, the original one?
Yes. That's
Okay.
not something I should do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how well DK2 will talk to it.
Yeah, there's some hacks that you can use. No, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't use it again tonight. I'm still getting over nausea. I mean, that's the first time when I first got my DK1. You know, you force yourself to use it because it's so exciting, and before you know it, you made yourself sick. Kind of what I did tonight.
Yeah. That's what we get for being early adopters.
Yeah. I know we need like 4 of these tracking cameras, and they need to be mounted around the room. That's like what we need.
Well, I was impressed how big the volume actually is with the DK2. Because
Yeah,
I
no,
remember,
it's pretty large.
You know, like I remember Oculus saying that they're targeting a seated experience. But if you angle that camera up a little bit and sort of like move your desk chair out of the way, like you got a pretty sizable volume that you can walk around in. And the positional tracking still works. I don't know. I was very impressed. You know, you could probably go like 6, 8, 10 feet back away from the camera. Or I was.
Yeah, well, it's recommended 5, so I'm sure you get a little bit more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. Was I powered up the Oculus World demo, and visualized the camera volume, and I don't know, just really impressed how large it was.
Yeah, it was cool, like going in and out of it and seeing what was happening.
Mm-hmm. Kind of
Does it
finding the
lose
edges.
tracking if you turn all the way around?
It does. And if you leave the volume, it kind of loses tracking too. But I mean, I don't know. It kind of made me realize you could make a stand-up sort of walking experience. You know, you wouldn't be walking that far, but maybe there's like a big object that's kind of in front of you that you can walk around and look at the different sides of.
So I'll be right back. I'm gonna check out Opera Nova.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen it since GDC Mixer.
nice. Well, yeah, I think it's better than that version. There's a different. What's that?
No, yeah, I like that version already, and that was a good song.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's the same song. It's got a different spatialization plugin, audio plugin working, and some of the effects are a little bit better. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll be interested since you've seen both of them.
Cool, I'll be right back.
Peace.
What are you using now for a plugin?
What's that?
What are you using now for a plugin?
Well, I wanted to use RealSpace, but they can only take 4, or whatever, like the free license can only take 4 sources. So I ended up doing 2 Big Ears. Have you played with that one?
Yeah.
What do you think of that one?
Yeah, they're all, you know, what I'd like to do is like just run some white noise through each one and see how well it
And
sounds
test
on
it
each
out.
one.
Yeah, you could kind of compare them all.
I like the fact that they've got, you know, integrated Unity support. Like you don't have to like run a totally separate system and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like Fmod or like Gen Audio. I think you still have to run Fmod or Wise.
Yeah.
That's always a pain. I
You
think
You can do a lot with both of those engines as a, from
Yeah.
a sound design perspective, but it is a little bit more sophisticated. I mean, it's obviously more.
Mhm. I'm excited about whatever Unity 5's new audio tools are going to be, because they made it look like they did a lot of work on the audio side of things.
They got nice meters, some snapshots, and I think they're doing busing now too, and a few other things. Yeah.
Because like the real-time effects in Unity are amazing. Like I think that's such a cool thing that you can do. And I haven't really seen a ton of cool musical stuff that utilizes the real-time effects. But yeah, maybe once Unity 5 comes out, like you know, you can do buses and stuff like that, like you were saying. Honestly, when I was setting up my mic to do this deal, I initially set it up through one of my reverb pedals because I wanted to get live reverb going on the guitar. Kind of just makes it a little bit nicer. But it was just so noisy. Like my pedal adds a lot of noise for some reason. Maybe it's the adapter I was using. But conceivably, you could do that in Unity with like the reverb filter in real time. I think that would be really cool. And hopefully they'll maybe add some new filters, because I think right now we only kind of have like low pass, high pass, reverb. There's an echo filter, and then there's the distortion filter in Unity.
Yeah, I was thinking that when you were playing the guitar, how cool it would be to have like a really high quality audio feed and have just different reverb zones that as you move around and play guitar or speak, you can have that effect in real time.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Like we could have a concert hall that's just got like really well-tuned digital reverb, you know, and that's where we go to have little mini concerts.
And then not only that, just like mixing in 3D space. I know people have been looking at it for a while in DAWs, but being in VR and then being able to pan sounds in 3D, it adds a whole new, you know, really the third dimension of mixing music. And how would you do that in real 3D?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like faders will never die. You know, like the fader on a mixing board is so tactile. It's such a nice interface. I don't know. Maybe, maybe we'll have like motion controlled faders someday.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like using something like Control VR and the glove system to pan sound objects around or whatever would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, and I mean, we were kind of talking about this the other day, like, in the context of a live show, what kind of tools would you want? And in the context of a live VR show, I should say, what kind of live mixing tools would you want? Yeah, just panning would be really cool, like being able to take some kind of object that's a visible object, but it's also the source of the sound, and sort of like wave it over the audience or something with your arm. That could be really cool, like an extension of your arm, like some giant arm particle system. I don't know.
That's interesting. I would be very interested to go to a concert in VR with a live DJ who is using his, doing with fucking, hand gestures to do whatever he wants to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty damn cool.
We should build a
Yes.
Build a what?
Absolutely.
That would be pretty badass, man. Like a half dance, half DJ, music concert with one person, like being a one-man show. That'd be wicked.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to be dance. I wouldn't want to dance with you guys in VR, but if I was like chilling with you guys talking.
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
I mean, if I was with you guys talking or something, or just hanging out, I wouldn't mind some it's one thing to have music playing in the background, but to have somebody like actually making music in the background, that's just a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So you can always like turn to your neighbor and like get a conversation going like, "Hey, this guy sucks, doesn't he?" Yeah.
Yeah. Or like a little virtual tip jar. You can request songs.
I didn't really mean dancing. I think I meant more of like you could watch him like
Head bobbing.
What?
Use that DK2 camera.
Right. Yeah. I meant like with what you guys said, using your arm as like a particle thing. You could have him actually like tossing out explosions and stuff like that, and to go with the beat. That would be sweet because your opera nova's wicked. But how cool would it be if you actually like made those explosions happen in real time with gestures?
Yeah, and not only that, it would be really, really fun to be the DJ doing that. It'd be like a game.
Seriously, and you can like control like the environment. You could. I think a lot of it would be pre-scripted, like how DJs work, and then you can have like specific strategic things that you could do live, and even maybe the audience can get involved as well, like adding their own sounds and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. Like
everyone
a dance revolution.
Everyone in the audience will be wearing stomps.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome.
And the DJ gets ratings by how many people are stomping their feet to the music.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's actually a good idea. That'd be cool.
How awesome that would be! Like you could modulate the environment based on how many people are dancing.
I mean, the DJ too. I mean, on his end, monetarily, like I don't want to make everything about money, but like he can reach so many more people, and it's still somewhat of a live experience. You know what I mean? And you can have people don't have to travel, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like think about going to a live DJ show now or to a rave. Those concerts are about being immersed in some kind of other world. Like the lights are really low. The spotlights are all crazy. There's lasers. There's big screens. It's like they're already set up to be kind of virtual concerts in a way. I think it's going to be very, very cool to experiment with.
Yeah, I agree.
Pink Floyd was doing that a long time ago, though, and that was actual music.
That's true. That's true.
What were they doing?
It's not just I'm not gonna sit here and diss Skrillex or whatever, but it's more about random bombardment of sounds and pushing your senses to the extreme versus mellowing out or feeling floaty or whatever.
You talk about Skrillex pushing your senses to the extreme?
I just mean like in terms of noise levels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Electronic shows are definitely much louder. I do think and like I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I grew up playing classic rock music, and John Bonham is my hero. But I kind of had an epiphany a couple of years ago. Like, so I was playing in this band, The Days. I was playing drums, and The Days was kind of like, just sort of like a classic rock. We weren't a cover band, but the music we were playing was all very classic rock, sort of like Beatles, Doors kind of stuff. And we were playing this one show at a guy's house, and I remember looking around, and all the posters on the wall were from bands that are 40 years old, you know, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and you know, Woodstock '69 posters. And I kind of realized, like, you know, we're missing out on the Woodstock of our era, which is raves and electronic dance music. I mean, those are the biggest music festivals in the world. And yeah, I just had this realization. You know, I was sitting there playing a vintage drum, a 70s drum kit, wearing bell bottoms, you know, playing old music, and kind of missing out on the cool stuff that's happening right now. So I realized that, and then I really kind of gained a new respect for electronic music, because if you're a DJ, if you're a producer, you can, and you're playing live shows, you can so much more accurately control the sonic spectrum than if you're in a rock band, you know. And really it's about using software to develop sounds versus using physical sources, you know, to develop sound, whatever it may be. If I'm a drummer and I'm setting up at a live show, you know, I can pretty much all I can do to control my sound is tune my drum set how I like it, and maybe I've got it, just right, and it sounds great. But you know, once the sound guy comes and puts his microphones on it, I don't know what kind of mics he's using. I don't know what kind of mixing he's doing. I don't know what kind of PA they have. So there's all these levels of abstraction between the sound source and the output, which is the speaker of the PA system. On the other hand, if you're a DJ or a producer, you craft all your sounds through synthesizers, through software synthesizers, and you literally can look at a real-time spectrum analysis of the frequencies that you're using or outputting. And so rather than having, you know, a snare drum mic'd by some mic, going through a mixing board, getting mixed, putting out, going out to the PA, you just have a computer going straight out to the PA. So there's fewer levels where you lose control over the sound. What that allows you to do is really pinpoint what kind of what kind of sounds you want to happen. So if you've ever been to a dance show, electronic dance show, there's definitely certain tempos that make you want to dance. So house music is all at about 120 beats per minute, which is
128,
you know,
usually.
Yeah, or like up around 130, in between 120 and 130. And the dubstep usually is half that, 60 to 65, which is and so there's something about that rhythm that just makes people want to dance inherently, and I think it's because the average active heart rate for humans is right around 120, 130. When you're dancing, when you're going, most of us are around 130. So there's kind of this entrainment that happens when the song is that pace, but also our heart rate is that pace. So that's kind of like a side tangent. But what I was getting at is using computers allows you to pinpoint the frequencies that you want. So there's also certain frequencies that I think make people dance more. So, like that really, really low bass that if you're playing in a rock band maybe only comes from, like the low E string on the bass guitar. But if you're using a computer, then you can have that low frequency over an entire measure or an entire phrase or something. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of rambly, but I do have a lot of respect for what Skrillex says. I mean, Skrillex is an innovator. You can't deny it. He's like, he'll come out with a record, and he'll invent some new cool sounds, and then 1,000 other DJs kind of clone what his sounds are and do exactly what he's doing. So I went from a Skrillex hater to a Skrillex respecter because he's an innovator.
See, I'm probably an old cynic by now. I DJ'd for many years. I also played in bands, from rock bands to electro, electronic music performed live. I found in my years of DJing that most crowds will dance to pretty much anything with a bit of alcohol or drugs in them, and all that matters is the beats per minute and that it's loud. So as a musician, you start to feel underappreciated.
Definitely. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And in some ways, it's kind of like, I'm not saying I'm like the Beatles, but the Beatles famously played Shea Stadium and couldn't hear what they were playing. No one could hear what they were playing because people were screaming too loud.
Yeah.
And they played Shea Stadium, I don't know when it was, like back in 66 maybe, and that was their last show, or their last show for a long time. They were like, what's the point? People don't come to hear the music, they come to just like freak out and have orgasms because our music is so good. And so yeah, that's why they went and made Sgt. Pepper, which was kind of designed to be like a tour, an album that they could send on tour.
So how does a musician get hooked up with the VR scene? How did you catch that bug?
I guess I
Good
caught
question.
I guess I caught it through indie games. So the Humble Bundle. You guys ever do those?
Sure.
Oh yes.
Maybe the first or second one, and it had Braid and it had Machinarium. Yeah, I think it had World of Goo. All those games are amazing, and all have really great music that is really it's well tailored to the visual aesthetic. So I really like when games manage to match the aural aesthetic, AURAL aesthetic, to the visual aesthetic. It's kind of like this magical thing can happen when you do that. And yeah, this game Machinarium does it incredibly well. Actually, if Matt's still here, this is the one I was talking about with you guys.
Aaron, can you crank up your volume a little bit again?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You still good?
Yeah.
Check. Sandwich. Check. Good?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so anyways, I played a couple of games in college, basically, that had really great music, and I was like, oh, I want to make music for games. And, eventually the Rift came out, and it just sort of naturally flowed. My interest in independent games kind of naturally flowed into virtual reality. And I mean, I think music has a really important place in VR. I first realized this when I was working on a game called Lunadroid. That was, I guess, like my fourth demo. Anyways, it takes place on the moon. So it was tricky because there's no sound in space. And so, like, I had this game for a while where you would go into it and you would put your headphones on, but you wouldn't hear anything. And just the outside world kept creeping in, like a car would drive by my house or a dog would start barking and kind of like remind me that, oh yeah, I'm actually on Earth. I'm not on the moon right now. But that's one of the things that music can help with, is it can mask the ambient real-world noise, which is, I think, really important. I mean, obviously, you could do the same. You could do the same, fulfill the same function with good sound design, but I don't know. It's just, I think it's more fun to do it with music.
Okay. Did you have a interest in VR before the Rift came along, or did you just kind of fall into it through finding out about the Rift?
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out what the initial impetus was for thinking about VR in my life, and I think I traced it back to these eyewitness books that I used to check out from the library. I don't know, maybe y'all remember them. They were like these big, oversized picture books, and they were called Eyewitness, and they would be about like one topic. So they'd be about cars or weapons or minerals. There's a really great one on rocks and minerals that I remember. But one of these was it was just the future. It was a bunch of stuff about the future. And this was back when I was in, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade, so early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s. And there was in the future book, there was these pictures of like the really early VR systems with the giant headsets that weighed so much, and like the big dumb gloves that probably didn't work that well. And I don't know, I just remember really latching on to that idea and thinking like, oh man, wow, people can make that? That's pretty damn cool. And then eventually it was seeing the Kickstarter that got me fired up again. Got, whatever latent interest that I'd gained from reading those books kind of rekindled. Yeah, and I actually didn't get in on the Kickstarter, but I ordered the DK1 right afterwards. Because for a while, like I remember seeing the Kickstarter and being like, oh yeah, nice. I definitely want to get that and start making games for it. Man, if only I had someone who could program all of my crazy ideas. So I was still at a point where I was doing a little bit of Unity, doing art in Unity, but just was, I guess, intimidated or maybe too proud to learn coding, which is like a really dumb way to think. And eventually I kind of just swallowed my pride and said, well, okay, if I can learn how to write code, then I can kind of do every aspect of this process. Yeah, eventually I swallowed my pride and bought a Rift, and I bought a Leap motion controller, and just started building stuff.
Excellent.
Have you been able to create anything with the Elite Motion, doing the music shit?
Yeah. Actually, one of the first things I made was it's called Plasma, and it involved a Rift, the Leap motion controller, and like one of those ridiculously high-powered hand dryers that they sometimes have at like movie theaters and stuff. Where you stick your hand under and it's just like.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The one I have is called the Accelerator.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It's a fine one. It's one of the finest. And yeah, so I had this idea for a game where so I've got the accelerator mounted in physical space, and I've got the Leap mounted right by the nozzle. Okay, sorry, I've got the accelerator flipped over. So normally you see them in bathrooms pointing air down. I've got the accelerator.
Where did you get an accelerator?
Dude, I bought it on Amazon.
Jesus. Okay.
And it was funny because after I bought it on Amazon, like, you know how Amazon will be like, oh, you bought this, you might
Recommend
also
you
like.
stuff.
Yeah, so after I bought the accelerator, it was like, oh, you bought the accelerator, you might also like this paper towel dispenser, or like this toilet paper dispenser. And I was like, no, not really. But yeah, so the way it works is I've got the accelerator set up, flipped over, and I've got the leap motion right next to the nozzle. So the leap motion will track when your hand intersects that column of air. And then in the physical world, in the virtual Rift world, I've got a beam of particles shooting up, and little models for your hand that pop up once you get within the capture volume of the leap. And the cool thing I did was I aligned the virtual beam of particles with the physical column of air that was shooting out of the accelerator. So, the leap is tracking your hand. If you're in the virtual world, you reach out and you touch that beam of particles. You're also touching the column of air. So you get this really nice tactile feedback. And it's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'd like to try that. Unfortunately, it requires the whole accelerator thing.
Yeah, that's
and it's
the
probably
thing.
pretty loud when it's going, huh?
It is really loud. I usually set it up. So yeah, the other thing is actually there's different chords that are triggered based on how you're tilting your hand. So if you just put your hand out flat into the beam of air, like it only triggers a sound when you're touching the beam of air. And the main sound when you have your hand flat, it's just like the root note of the key. But when you can detect when you're tilting your hand like 45 degrees to the left, 45 to the right, 45 back towards you, or 45 in front of you. And each of these different rotations has a different chord, so you can kind of play songs with it. It's only 5 chords, but you can still get a lot of articulation out of it. And the other thing I did was I tied the Y coordinate of your hand, so basically like how close your hand is to the nozzle of the accelerator. I tied that to the cutoff on a low-pass filter. So basically, the higher that you get up and the farther away from the nozzle your hand goes, the more muffled the sound is. But then as you bring it down, it sort of goes whoosh. It changes the cutoff on that low-pass filter. So yeah, and it's kind of a musical. It's kind of a musical deal. But yeah, it has little to no commercial value because it's not like I can get people to go buy an accelerator. I did get the chance to show it at a couple of parties here around Austin, like video game parties, and people liked it. I got at one of these parties. I got a friend of mine to come along and shoot some video. Some nice. He's got a nice DSLR camera. He shot some good video. So like I have all this cool footage of people trying it that I just need to edit into some kind of video explaining what it is and how it works. So that'll come out eventually. So maybe it'll make more sense.
Are you in contact with the Leap Motion people? Because if they saw that, they'd probably flip shit and maybe even throw some money at you.
I think the only time I've ever talked to them was at the GDC VR mixer, because they were kind of like running the front table. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I should reach out to them.
Cool. We probably need some music for VRChat at some point. It's no fun not having any music, so
Oh man, let
I
me
hit
know.
you up.
Yeah. Well, I saw the Road to VR guys posted. They're doing the VR awards. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
And so the first thing I did when I saw that was I emailed Ben Lang and I said, hey man, let me know if you guys need a house band, because I would love to do that. And I mean, think about it, you know, like, you could have an awards show going on that is accompanied by a full band, you know. I don't know what kind of band, but, you know, you could play sort of like interlude music and like in between showing clips of things. I don't know, I think it'd be really cool. I'm just really excited about the potential of concerts in VR. You know, that's why I was so glad I could just set up the guitar and play a little bit, you know. Oh, hey! There we go!
We're talking about music, yeah.
I like it.
Turn it off, though.
No, it's actually kind of nice.
You know, there are so many musicians I'm finding in the VR scene right now. At some point, I'm really thinking about trying to organize like an album, or you know, maybe turning that into a concert, or something, because there are tons of people who are really talented musicians doing stuff in VR.
I mean, I think it's just gonna take, like, we got to figure out what the platform looks like, kind of what the model is, you know, because nobody knows. It's like this new medium. Nobody knows how concerts are gonna exist. But like you said, yeah, maybe it's like a record, a compilation album. That could be pretty cool.
In the meantime, you could absolutely get like a little inspired by the Rift kind of album together.
I like that. Sorry, yeah. There it is.
I guess, I don't know, before we all head out, you have anything else you can play for us? I enjoyed that immensely.
Sure, yeah, I have a song that I kind of came up with a couple nights ago that probably doesn't have a place in Eden River, but it's still a cool song that I would like to play for you guys.
Please.
Alright, here we go.
Nice, man.
Clap. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's just something I came up with. Thank you.
Very
I mean, I
nice,
hope...
Sir.
Thank you, guys. I would love to do that a lot. I think virtual concerts are very, very exciting.
All right. Well, we will get that working. We'll get DJ shit set up and get you an audience and make it happen.
Let's do it.
We need to have We have the original VRChat room was that coffee shop. So and I think some of the tunes you just played would be a perfect coffee shop. I guess song cover or whatever, just playing in the background.
Yeah, you could have.
Fortunately, what are you saying?
You could have slam poetry nights.
Oh yeah. That'll be encroaching on some Riff Max. I'm sure they have poetry night coming up soon at some point.
Do they really? They're doing
no.
Oh.
They have karaoke and everything else.
Karaoke, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that poetry night was a thing.
I do plan on working on some like stage type stuff, so.
Dark, get a DJ booth going, and we'll start putting in controls for music and shit, and make it so you don't have to hold down the V key.
That's the coolest avatar
depends.
I've ever seen.
Also need
well, wait until he brings in the other one. Dark, load up.
Like stereo, the ability to stream stereo in here.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to improve upon with regards to the audio for sure.
I don't think you're ever going to get any kind of live performance thing feeling really good in VR. I think any amount of network latency is going to kill the ability of a band to play together properly.
Sure. Well, I've ever seen. Thank you. I mean, I hope. Sure. We get us mic'd up through a board, and then just pipe a stereo signal into the virtual world.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be sweet? And you could.
Yeah. I've done that. My old band, we ran everything through Ableton, like absolutely everything was live. And yeah, you totally. You don't even have to use amps or anything. You can just emulate all of that.
Yeah, you could DI everything.
Oh shit! I have not seen Gigacat-tron yet.
I think it's the one.
Oh, that is the greatest thing ever. Oh man.
I missed that Ableton Live stuff. What were you guys saying?
I used to run a whole band through Ableton Live and live, and then everybody had ear monitors as well, and they all had stereo mixes, so you could easily just pipe that output, and you can even encode some 3D filtering into it as well for positional type stuff. Yeah, that actually could work really well.
I wonder if there's like some kind of Max plugin or something you could write.
Ooh. Yeah, Max I bet could do some cool stuff with that. Interesting.
Could you pipe Ableton into Unity Live somehow, like through Max?
I doubt it's been done. You probably can figure out a way.
I'm sure it's not an Ableton or Max issue. It's just a Unity thing. I don't know anything about Unity. I'm pretty sure the other end could do that for you.
Well, I mean, I've got my my inbox plugged into my computer right now, so I've got like a nice mic set up that's just running an XLR cable into the inbox into my computer. So I would think you could just have. What's up?
Sorry, what's an inbox?
The inbox is like, it's just the interface.
What's the brand name or whatever?
Oh, the brand? It's the M-Audio ProFire 610. So it's a FireWire inbox. It's pretty nice. It's only got 2 XLR inputs, but
Yeah, I have a Presonus Firebox. It's similar FireWire thing.
Yeah, I think you could use one of those. Like if you have another board in front of that that's got all of your band mics on it or whatever, your all of your band DIs, and then you just run out of that board into like a stereo input on the inbox. I think you could make a whole live
the
thing.
problem with VRChat is I think it only reads like the left channel of whatever's coming in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there a way we can, like, how do you get more audio quality via streaming.
You're kind of beholden to the codec that the plugin is using right now. But maybe you could change that. Maybe you could say, hey, codec, give me a better bit rate or something.
Hey, codec, get on that.
It's definitely worth exploring, but I think there would have to be some serious research and development done to get that working really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Aaron,
could have
go ahead.
you could have if you don't even need a separate board. If you had enough inputs on Ableton, you can run everything through Ableton, put in even 3D plugins in Ableton, and pan things around there, and then you just pipe a stereo feed into Unity. And if you had a good enough codec, like you were saying, Nate, then I think it could sound pretty good. And so yeah, like it all depends, pivots on the quality of the codec.
Yeah, because the latency wouldn't be an issue if everyone's playing in the same room at the same time.
Right.
Like you might have some, if you're doing like a live show, like if you're doing a live band for the VR awards or whatever, you know, there's still only going to be maybe like half a second or a second, you know, between when they're like announce something and you need to start playing a cue.
For transmission, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's negligible.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to monitor yourself on the VRChat feed. You would do a zero latency direct feed for the band, and then maybe just somehow enable, if you, well, yeah, be interesting, because like if you wanted to hear the chat, then you just flip it on, I guess, when you're not playing.
Or yeah, everybody could have headphones maybe.
And I think eventually you do go and explore things like taking each instrument or microphone that the live band is using and piping them all into a virtual environment separately, so that somebody could literally like walk around inside of the virtual band playing music.
Well, hey, that's kind of what Opera Nova is. You should go. You should go pre-order Eden River, because yeah, it's a bunch of different it's a bunch of different like instruments basically separated. Yeah, and using this really cool binaural plugin, so you can kind of like create your own mix by walking around.
Yeah, I was messing around with that. I took like some Hans Zimmer stems and then put them in 3D space, and you know, you could set it up like a virtual orchestra per se, and then you can walk as you get closer to the brass instruments. You hear them a little bit more, etc. Which, yeah, I should put that out.
That's pretty cool. I would play that.
So, are you getting Eden River on Steam?
Yeah, Eden River's gonna be on Steam end of August. I'm putting it out not this Friday, but next Friday, just on my website. And end of August, yeah, it's gonna be out on Steam. I'll probably do some updates. I might be adding Hydra/stem support to the Steam release. Do you guys have Hydras? I mean, like, would you want Hydra support for Eden River?
A lot of people.
I mean, what would you be doing with it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess I should mention that. My idea is,
Paddling along.
yeah, you could kind of just reach down and touch the water, make some ripples happen, or maybe, so in the new Eden River, you can kind of like pick up these birds who come fly with you. So you could hold out your Hydra, you know, and have the hawk come like mount on your arm or like fly right next to your arm. Or, you know, maybe you push one button and a swarm of butterflies comes and swarms around your arm as you're just cruising.
Yeah, that could be interesting. A little bit of interaction.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
So what's next for Unello Design then? Right now it's just you, but is it growing? Are you turning it into a full-on company? What's going to happen a year, or 2 years, 5 years down the road?
Yeah, right now it's just me. I mean, ideally I would have more people working with me, because it's fun doing everything on your own, because you get to learn every aspect of game development, but it also can kind of make you go crazy a little bit. So I would like to, yeah, once I start making money, once I have an established brand, start hiring people and expanding. For the rest of the year, my timeline is kind of like finish Eden River, get that out, get the Steam version up, and then I want to start making a mobile version, or just optimizing the version that I have for mobile, because I think that's going to be huge. I think there's going to be a huge mobile consumer VR market. Once Oculus puts out whatever they're doing with Samsung, and once all these other companies put out their headsets, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens in that space. So I probably will be focusing more on mobile for the next 6 months. I mean, just because there is who knows when CV1's coming out. It's hard to be like, yeah, I'm going to make a full-on, like, PC game for this headset that nobody knows when it's coming out.
Well, if you ever need some company, one of the things that we're trying to do at Metatron is just kind of make connections and have developers talking to developers more. Like, you got added to a Skype chat today that I think is very active, probably too damn active. But between that and some of the private conversations that we have in Mumble chat, there's definitely a real community that you can get plugged into.
Okay.
If that's something that you're interested in, then we should definitely
absolutely
hook you up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. My Unity skills are lacking for sure. And my 3D modeling skills for that matter too.
Yeah, we still need to hunt down some 3D modelers, get them excited about VR. That's one element that I haven't seen a ton of people really working with. It's all like it's primarily people pulling stuff off the Unity asset store. Is what like all of the models in here are probably Unity, or they're stolen from some other video game or something, and that's just where we're at right now.
It's funny how often I see Carl here and there in other demos.
My mailbox is 100% custom.
Nice.
Yeah.
It took me like a whole 30 minutes to do.
Oh, and it talks. I didn't know.
I didn't even notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been silent today.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, in Eden River, a lot of the models are just free asset store models. I almost don't even want to say that, because maybe it kind of devalues the game, but yeah, like the trees are free. The rock model I'm using was a free model. The birds I'm using were pretty cheap, but they actually look pretty good. But yeah, I mean, ideally I would have custom art, but I don't have any money. I have $20. I now have $20 from Eden River pre-sales.
Aaron, it was awesome talking with you. I actually need to head out and do some dev stuff before I fall asleep.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely. But now you are part of the VRChat Skype group, which you will learn that it is very active. It often is too active, but it's always fun to have people talking about VR. If you want to jump in. If I'm ever in Austin, I will. We'll have to meet up and do some VR stuff.
Yeah, man, hit me up. I'll be here. I'll be hanging around.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. This was fun.
Yeah, I'm pleased you'll have to come back, and I really do want to do that DJ stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun to get something set
Yeah,
up
can
like
we
that.
do that next time? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, let's. I mean, no, you know, I don't know anybody else who's thinking about this kind of stuff. We could really make something happen.
Absolutely. We can talk more offline in Skype about it. But for now, I gotta fix the next iteration of VRChat so it's less choppy, even though it wasn't too bad tonight.
No, it was good. Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk with you guys later.
All right.
Hey, Graham.
See you guys. See you guys next time.
Yeah. Cheers.
Later.